To construct an effective trading strategy, you need to have a comprehensive understanding of all aspects of a transaction. For example, there are 7 different aspects that make up a trade. I won't go into detail about each one here, but there are 7 different aspects that make up a trade. You can't just have one entry method, so you might have 2 or 3 entry methods, and then you have an initial protective stop component, like where do you draw the line, where is this trade wrong, at what price is that line in the sand. I'll give you a few examples. One component is your entry method, like how you enter the stock. Let's say a stock that you want to buy, there can't just have one entry method, so you might have 2 or 3 entries. Where is the line in the sand, and what is the method by which you come up with that line in the sand? Do you have a name for that line in the sand, so that when you grab all of the components of a trade, identifying the trade, the entry, and the initial stop, when and where do you add the line in the sand? What's your ad technique? How does your advertising approach work? These things should not be done from the seat of one's pants. They should not be done based on feeling or thought. Instead, they should be mapped out on a piece of paper. Your trade should already be mapped out before you take the trade, which means that once you're in it, basically the piece of paper does the rest. The piece of paper determines, based on your plan, where the protective stop is. The piece of paper decides when and where you add and by how much. The piece of paper decides when and where and by what method you take profits and how much. Do you take half? Do you take a quarter? Do you take all of it? All of it has to be mapped out. Alright, how do you adjust the initial stop so that as your trade starts working you can keep the initial stop in the same place? You've got to move that. Where do you move that? By what method do you move that? When do you move your emotions and your beliefs? You realize that your ideas, emotions, and beliefs are your adversaries because they cause you to make poor decisions. You may think one way one time and another way the next time. You can feel one way right now, but you can feel something completely different 2 seconds from now. They have conflicting ideas and emotions, and they are all over the place. With flip-flopping trades, long and short, you can never achieve true consistency in trading if you trade based on what you think, and trading based on what you feel. You have to give control of the trade to your plan, and so you become the monitor of the plan becomes the trader, and you have to disappear or go away, in a way. The traders who make the most professional progress are the traders who have a solid trading plan, and the plan becomes the replacement for the trader's thoughts. If your thoughts were so wonderful, you wouldn't be here, you wouldn't need help or guidance, but your thoughts are your worst enemy. If trading based on your thoughts worked, we wouldn't need guidance or training or anything like that, we would just think and make money. However, it's the thoughts that actually get in our way, so your trades to be mapped out before you take a trade so that you're just following the same script as the last trade, so you know exactly what you need. That need at least 4 solid things that are no question buys. When I ask the trader what are the 4 things that you buy, most traders can't answer me because they're buying their thoughts or their feelings at the time. Yep, you do what they're buying. I think Facebook is over. I think Facebook's going to go up from here. That's not a freaking item, that's a thought, that's a feeling you don't want, you wouldn't. The activity that is now known as trading should be renamed waiting. I'm not seeking, I'm not looking, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for them to come to me. I'm waiting for one of these 4 things to happen to me if I swap Apple. I'm waiting for them to come to me. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that one of these 4 things will occur with my Apple. If you trade Microsoft, I'm waiting for one of these 4 things to happen with my Microsoft, so in the meanwhile I wait, and when one of them occurs, I'll trade it. You see your triggers, and then you push the buy button, and once you've hit the buy button, the deal is no longer yours. You may think whatever you want and feel whichever you want, but the transaction is not yours, it belongs to the piece of paper. I just talked to you about so that piece of paper tells you where the stop is. That piece of paper tells you when to add to your play. That piece of paper tells you when you have the right to move your stop up. That piece of paper tells you when it's time to take profits and how much should you take profits, quarter, half, whole. It's all mapped out on the piece of paper, And so when you do these things, I got 4 things I act on in the piece of paper once I act on them.